I'm going to put my lovely rosé away and welcome in Chef Ed from Mills Tavern. I'm sure he's got some things to carry in for us here. Look at these awesome stealth enclosures, these glass things. It's amazing. Chef!
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right.
This!
Can we just talk about this for a second? This
Molly's
is
carrying in the good stuff. Look at this.
So this is a 32-ounce Wagyu tomahawk. It's
32 ounces.
32 ounces.
32 ounces.
Yeah, it's one of the special orders. I don't carry this in the building all the time, but when you call and make your reservation, if this is something that's on your mind, just let me know.
If that's something that's on your mind. Did we get a good shot of this, Tony? If that's something that's on your mind.
Make sure you hold it up.
Oh my God.
It's a decent cut of meat. It's definitely
an incredible cut of meat.
And then this is our Wagyu strip.
Wagyu strip.
I went ahead and grilled that up ahead of time, just probably like 20 minutes ago or so.
And then you brought some wines here. I'm sure we got to talk about this a little bit. We'll go to that. You know, he didn't come empty-handed. So between the beef and the wine, I think that I'm going to be in pretty good shape.
Well, I mean, we are fourth-year wine spectator, and hoping to get another year in the rounds. So a couple of the bottles that we carry here at the restaurant. All amazing red wines, white wines.
And you got to help me because you're going to have to come in so we can try this one.
And they go great with all the pairings. Our
wine is important, and we're going to talk about that. Not just for the health benefits of it. It's important to enjoy with your meal as well. But before we get into all the wine and all this, you've been over at Mills Tavern for a very long time. We had this conversation.
We spoke for a little bit yesterday. Yeah, I've been there for just over 10 years now. The executive is 5. So I've seen the city
10 years
come up, so to speak. And
so Mills Tavern is what I was describing as a legacy restaurant. It's been around for 15 years, I think now, right? Because they just had an anniversary.
We just had our 15-year anniversary. Yes.
That's amazing.
And it's something special to be a part of that for as long as I have. So.
Wow. To have a restaurant 15 years and have you be there for 10 of the 15, that's unbelievable. Let's see if we can do this, and then we'll get into our good conversation because this is already smelling amazing. I don't know if it's the meat or the wine or a combination of both.
I'm sure it's
Cheers,
a combination.
Chef. Thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So, as we were talking about, and we had this quick conversation yesterday about a few things, is that you went through the ranks, and I want to get to that perspective of why the meats and the poultry are important to you, but you went through the ranks there.
I did. I've been with the company for a while. I've seen the changing of the guard a couple of times already, both front of the house and back of the house, but it's one of those places that just captured me. I have a passion for what I do. I love being able to create new dishes and changing the menu seasonally 4 times a year. Right. It gives me the opportunity to constantly try something new.
Right.
And it's a beautiful thing as an aspiring chef.
And speaking of seasonality, you showed me you have this garden. Is it your own garden at the restaurant?
We do have a garden at the restaurant. I try and do some herbs and anything that I can produce enough of to sustain without having to go out and source.
Right.
So,
which is a fantastic thing. We've talked about this before on the taste, is that we talked about locally sourced items. So the fact that you can do that both with your meats and your ingredients that you're bringing in is really valuable.
And well, being part of this culture and the upcoming of this city, I mean, it's important to me to support the local community.
Absolutely.
So wherever you can possibly source something locally, just do it.
Take advantage of it and do it. So going to the meats and poultry, which has been a big discussion, and you can see why when you're looking at these, is your restaurant, it's a signature. No question, it's a signature. But it's not just simply a filet when you go in for the Mills Tavern. So the meats there started with the restaurant and kind of evolved over time, and it seems like you've added newer meats. People are now accepting different styles of meat, so not just beef, right?
Well, there's been this growing awareness of where the product is coming from, the types of cuts, and how it's prepared. So one of the wonderful things about Mills is everything's cooked on an open wood and charcoal.
That's beautiful.
So there's no gas. We break all of our own meats down in house. As far as I can go to be as fresh and as clean as possible is the steps I'm willing to take.
So talk about some of the different meats that you have. I know we talked about these two, but we talked about there was a veal, there's...
I have a number of dishes on the menu. Like I said, the lamb is my favorite.
Right.
And I'm going to be doing some lamb loin chops for the spring menu, which I'm super
And
excited
you're also
about.
going to lead some of the lamb into Easter, right?
Yes,
For the Easter
we
menu?
were also, for our Easter special, we're doing a roast carved leg of lamb,
Oh, gosh.
which, that's from my heart. I grew up in a Lebanese culture. The inspiration for all of my food comes from my grandmother and my mother. You know, it's growing up with that presence really inspires a chef to wanna
Of course, yeah.
to stay stuck to their roots.
Right.
And lamb is just, you know, one of those iconic dishes.
So I'm sure she'd be incredibly proud of the things that you're accomplishing now, between the locally sourcing that you're doing and all this. That's an awesome tradition to follow. So we got the lamb, we got the beef. We talked about something that I want to make sure I talk about, because poultry always kind of gets the back seat, but it's just as important from the savory side of
absolutely.
things and all the different things you can do with it. Tell us something, because I found this fascinating, something different that you've been doing and how you're preparing your poultry dish.
We take a number of steps with our poultry dish just to ensure that you know, it's nice and juicy and never dried out, and has lots of flavor. We start off with a 24-hour brine, then we braise it in the sauce that we serve it with, whatever the variation for that season I'm doing. You know, right now it's a citrus.
Oof.
And then after we braise it, we fire it in the wood burning oven, which puts a nice golden crisp
Yeah,
on the
it kind of
skin.
crusts it up, yeah.
And it's a multi-step process, but it's a process that really ensures that the dish goes
So
out.
it's 24 hours before you even braise it.
It's 24 hours before I even braise it.
Wow,
Yes.
that's an amazing process to go through. And
I do the same thing with my turkey for Thanksgiving.
oh god, I love that. So, tell me about this though. So, the poultry dishes and the meats there. Are you finding that people are ordering the poultry just as much as they're ordering the meats?
I think there's been a trend more towards steaks, especially as we come into the season of grilling, and you know, it's one of those dishes where, you know, it's something that it's a root item on the menu.
Right.
Everybody, you know, if you want chicken,
That's the staple.
there needs to be chicken.
Right. So, from the meat side though, as it seemed, I mean, Mills has grown over time. We talked. You've been there for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I've also done pheasant. I've done quail. I've done our in-house smoked turkey for Thanksgiving, as I mentioned previously.
Great.
So, I mean, it's the poultry dishes evolve as we move forward. You know, it's,
Nice. Well, that's a good thing, because you want it to evolve in the house of guests. Do you feel that people feel there's more benefits now to eating meats?
I think this
From a
day and
health
age,
standpoint.
people are a lot more aware of what they're eating, a lot more conscious of where it comes from and how it's prepared. But as far as their preference towards meat or poultry, I believe it just falls on, you know, what you're hungry for.
Yeah, for the individual. But it seemed like there was, you know, these years, and even up until recently, that people were scared about eating too much red meat and having it in their diet or the health benefit stuff. And I think that that's completely, from my perspective, almost dissipated. It's people are back out there enjoying it,
Oh, absolutely.
loving it, trying the different
And
varieties.
I would definitely have to say that in recent years we've had a growing increase in the amount of steaks that people have been ordering, and you know, that come in and they request. You know, this is one of the items that, you know, I had done a special on, and people kept coming back and asking me for it. So
So someone's eating that whole thing.
I've actually had a couple of women take this whole thing
Get
down by
out
themselves.
of here. Kate and Molly, you up for that challenge?
No.
Oh my lord.
It's something else. And like I said, this is a 24 to 48 hour notice. You know, I have, you know, my meat come in fresh daily. So
Right.
if you do want this, you know, you just gotta, when you call and make the reservation, let us know, and I'll make sure I get it in the building for you.
That's unbelievable. Just I can't even imagine where I'd start to cut in. So
I've actually had a couple of guests just pick the whole thing
Yeah,
up
just start chewing
and
on
start cavemanning it.
That's crazy. I'd like to be there to take a picture of that.
Oh.
So, from the perspective, do you find that people are being a little more adventurous? I mean, these are things that I can see that a common person will come and eat, these cuts and these styles. The Wagyu beef is also very...
Well, this day and age, you know, a lot of people, you know, when they go out, they want something they can't do at home.
Okay.
And they're looking for something, you know, new, something special, and to be able to offer, you know, cuts of meat like this, you know, especially the ribeye. I mean, go for it.
I'm going to pull
Get
this
right in
This
there.
looks unbelievable.
It's nice for them to have that option, and you know, a lot of people are willing to be adventurous when they go out, especially if it's someplace they trust.
Do you get requests of people that want different types of meat?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, some of my servers have been there since we've opened.
Right.
And have a huge following. You know, they come in and they ask for that server, and they'll call them up ahead of time and be like, hey, I'm coming in.
Right.
This is what I want. Make sure it's ready for me, et cetera, and we take care of them all the time.
So we talked a little bit at the beginning about the importance of wine, and you guys are a Wine Spectator Award winner, which is fantastic, and it's not an easy thing to achieve. Do you find overall that wine plays a really important part of the dining scene?
Oh, absolutely. You know, we do a number of wine dinners throughout the year, and the pairings are one of the most important parts of that. I mean, you've got to make sure that, you know, it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, there's a variety of different wines that have flavor profiles, and as I'm sure you know, across the board.
Ways to bring out the meat, ways to bring out the taste and the flavor.
Absolutely.
To do it. So before we close up, a couple last quick questions for you. One is, and you said a little bit earlier when we were going on Facebook Live, but what is not only your favorite dish, but what's one of your things that you really enjoy cooking? One of your favorite things to cook? Not so much that it's your favorite to eat, but your favorite to prepare.
Oh, honestly, I'd have to say that I found a passion in doing our own pâtés, charcuterie, et cetera.
Really?
Yeah. So that's been an ambition of mine. You know, recently, my most recent
That's excellent.
ambition.
That's not something I would expect. Yeah. That's
And so you know, we make our own pâtés, our own cured meats. We make our own bacon.
You make your own bacon.
We make our own bacon.
Whoa, that would put me in heaven. That would put me in heaven.
So that's my recent, you know, follow is I really enjoy learning about those things. You know, I hate to say it, but the internet is a wonderful avenue to find out anything about anything you want to do. And I mean, as an aspiring chef and trying to grow in my career, you know, it's so nice to be able to just go out there and research so easily that.
And between the internet and I'm sure your customers, so you're getting a tremendous amount of feedback on what's out
absolutely.
there when they want to see you experiment with that kind of thing. So the kind of the last thing for you, this seems like it's something like you said that honored your family. You've created the dishes. You can have that influence in the kitchen. Do you find that the guests are requesting you to be that way? A lot of people worry about when they go into a steakhouse sort of thing that it's a set way on the menu. It's a set thing. You can't make any deviations or any changes. So that's something you seem like you guys are very flexible to.
Absolutely. You know, I have a lot of guests that will come in and request, you know, a modification to the dish. You know, as a chef, that's always something that we kind of sort of cringe at, but you know, we are in the service industry, and it's our job to make people happy. So.
You've done a tremendous job over there, and you've come a long way. Like you said, you started at the very beginning 10 years ago, and now worked your way up to being the executive chef. Mills is a great place to go to. The bar is amazing. A huge bar. You got a really long bar there.
Yeah, we've 17 seats in.
17 seats in the bar. And then they got a private dining room, which I've had events in before, and I think you guys have done, when you have your dinners or your special event stuff, you kind of spread it out through different parts of the restaurant.
Oh, absolutely. We have a private dining room. Fits up to 29 people for, you know, any type of event you want. But then there's even been times where, you know, we've had people purchase the restaurant out. You
That's
know.
awesome.
And for our 15-year anniversary, we shut down for the day and filled the restaurant.
That's incredible. So any last-minute news, any new things coming up that you want to announce or let us know about from this time?
Well, the new menu for spring is going to be coming out next week on Wednesday. And then, obviously, you know, Easter.
Easter's important.
Big day, Mother's Day, always big day.
Make those reservations now for those type of things.
And then graduations. May is just a big month for
the entire city.
For lots of business for the entire city. So,
that's awesome. Well, Chef, thank you for coming in today and sharing this. This is amazing. And if you haven't been to Mills Tavern, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, get over there and check it out. Say hi to the chef while you're there. Let him know you saw this. And thank you again for joining us. It was excellent.
Thank you for having me.